Everyone in high society knows the story of our protagonist, Yuria Primrose. She's the young lady who left her family and achieved success alone, even landing among the 10 economists moving the empire this year. The crowd is stunned by her wealth. One noblewoman whispers that the girl must be naive, doubting those massive dress jewels could actually be real. Our girl confirms the gems are genuine. Her company, Unette, now handles jewelry through a partnership with the imperial merchants. Noticing the woman's dry skin, she suggests visiting Unette for tailored moisturizing products. Since they're made with her growth blessing, their effectiveness is guaranteed. She calls them out for acting like they know her when they've always ignored her. As Lilika's unremarkable sister, they're just spreading rumors about someone they never cared about. The woman begs for another chance, shouting, "It's a misunderstanding," but the tycoon keeps walking. She realizes money makes even lofty nobles change. Though speaking this sharply would have caused a massive commotion before. Born into prestige as the eldest daughter of the Primrose family, she grew up with her brother, Jikison Doran. Then came Lilika Primrose, her illegitimate half-sister. The girl stole the family's affection, leaving our protagonist overshadowed and constantly compared to her. While society loved their defined roles as the underdog versus the cold daughter, our girl still held on to hope through her unique blessing. Her power, the blessing of growth, could revive plants or force unseasonable blooms. She used it to create natural cosmetics, saving noblewomen who were dying from lead-based makeup. The new products caused a massive stir. The family's former ugly duckling used her business sense to return as the empire's greatest financial magnate. The illegitimate sister rushes over, whining about the lack of contact and how worried she was. She claims they should have at least exchanged greetings since leaving the house. The girl questions the new jewels, remembering the sister sold a diamond necklace their father gave her. Our girl coldly refuses to wear anything from the Duke again. The sister is shocked, asking how she can call him Duke and treat her own father like that. She scolds her while the other nobles start to whisper. The girl acts hurt, calling the tycoon cold, but Our Lady snaps back that it's actually the sister who hasn't changed at all. She sees through the victim act and the narrative her sister painted. Just then, Duke Primrose approaches with the brother, demanding to know why she's treating her father like a stranger. The girl insists family ties can't be severed, while the brother offers his hand to escort her. It's exactly the shallow behavior Our Lady expected. She rejects the dance, ignoring the brother's annoyance at his failed olive branch. Suddenly, a man named Marcel Vieira calls her name. The newcomer asks for a dance, but the family is furious. Her father reminds the man he has no place here after proposing to the younger sister right in front of the tycoon. She wonders if they feel any shame for their past abuse, remembering their affairs, the constant yelling, and even the time they tried to poison her. Disgusted by their shamelessness, she announces she already has a partner. The family is stunned as a man dressed in green and gold approaches. The newcomer apologizes for being late, but our girl explains he was just finishing a task she assigned. Her father stares, sweating in disbelief. The Duke is visibly shaken by the man's presence. She leans on the man's arm, introducing him as her partner. The tycoon coldly asks them all to leave. The atmosphere darkens as she remembers her father's even colder voice from the day he tried to murder her. In a flashback, she begs her family for help on a freezing floor. Instead, her father offers a glass of poison as his last act of mercy. She accepts her end, deciding it's better to join her mother in heaven. She ironically thanks her father for allowing her such an easy death. As she dies, she hears her brother disown her, claiming the other girl is his only sister. She realizes they're already erasing her existence, coughing up blood. She feels the weight of her meaningless life, betrayed by family and deceived by the man she loved. She wonders why she even tried to survive. In another memory, her former fiancé catches her in a dark corridor. He calls her a wicked woman and grabs her wrist, shattering her heart. In that moment, she realized no one loved her. Her mother had passed away recently, and that was the only real love she'd ever known. Thinking of her mother's warm embrace, she collapses. She was blissfully ignorant back then and never imagined she'd die like this. As her vision blurs and she fades away, a forgotten memory resurfaces. She remembers a modern woman reading a popular parenting story. The novel is called Please Love the Rejected Noble Daughter. It follows a girl who wins her father's love and finds a radiant life. It's a typical story where an illegitimate girl overcomes everything to shine, including her villainous half-sister. She was just a classic villainous side character, consumed by jealousy. She wonders why this memory is only returning now. She realizes she is that villainess, living in the world of a novel she should have known. From the moment the other girl joined the family, she was despised while her sister monopolized the love of their father and brother. The more the girl was loved, the more she was hated. Even her fiancé betrayed her for the girl, demanding an annulment. Her mother was truly her only stroke of luck in that miserable life. Ready to follow her mother, she said goodbye to the accursed house and welcomed her tragic death with open arms. Suddenly a voice calls out. She wakes up gasping in her bed inside a lavish room. She sees her mother and wonders if it's a dream. The Duchess touches her, noting that her fever has finally gone down. Crying, she asks where she is. Her mother worries it was a nightmare, assuring her the doctor said she'd be fine after the fever broke. The memories were so vivid, she asks if she's in heaven. Her mother looks saddened, realizing the girl must have been in a lot of pain. Her mother asks why a 19-year-old would talk of dying. Shocked by her age, she hears a knock as the brother announces their arrival. The sister enters, beaming with relief that her sibling is finally awake. Our girl watches them both, recognizing the sister and the brother standing together in the room. Watching silently, she wonders if she's stuck in a long dream or if she actually traveled back in time. The Duchess leaves to call the doctor, asking the siblings to keep an eye on her. The brother mentions how much pain she claimed to be in. Jikison Doran, the regional duke's son, asks our protagonist, Yuria Primrose, if she's pretending to be sick. Stunned, our girl realizes she's heard these words before. She wonders if this is a hallucination brought on by the cold as a flashback shows her past self coughing up blood while dying. The burning pain of the poison her father forced on her is still too vivid. She remembers dying at age 9, but her mother says she's nearly 19. If this isn't a dream, our girl wonders if she really went back an entire year. The boy asks if she's trying to ruin her sister, Lilika Primrose's birthday party. Hearing him, our girl recalls a future where he told their father that letting her die was too merciful after all she'd done. The protagonist remembers him claiming Lilika was his only sister. It's a bitter reminder that even if time rewinds, people's rotten personalities don't change. Meanwhile, the younger sister acts sweet, saying she's just glad her sister woke up. It's a sickening sight. Our girl knows that behind that angelic, innocent smile lies a truly wicked nature. Recalling a past accusation, the MC wonders if her sister is just pretending, or if the girl genuinely doesn't know the truth. In the past, the sister admitted she planned the false accusations herself. She was a demon who only revealed her true nature after dragging our girl through the mud. Before that, they were just acquaintances. Back then, the girl used sweet words to beg for help, claiming she couldn't finish something alone. If our protagonist had only known then that she was listening to a devil's whisper, things might have been different. The Duke screams about a torn handkerchief, calling it his favorite daughter's only keepsake. He shouts that he's been lenient despite her making things hard for her sister. But our girl denies ever ruining the cloth. Her father asks if she's actually accusing the younger sister of tearing her own mother's keepsake. Servants saw her with it, but she explains she was just asked to unravel the embroidery. She begs her sister to stop lying. The sister cries about the torn cloth, but it's a total lie. Everyone takes her side, even the nanny who was her own mother's shadow. Our girl stands in the dark, wondering why everyone is choosing the sister. From that day on, the traps became even more clever. Lilika is like a chess master, using the Duke and his son as pieces while turning our girl into a villain for everyone to despise. She stole everything. The sister acts concerned about the fever while the brother sneers, calling it a fake illness to ruin the party. Our girl stays silent, keeping her back to them. The girl plays the victim, claiming she was looking forward to her own performance. The brother offers a cold happy birthday, but our girl knows this day will be unforgettable. In the past, the sister's dress code trick led to the crowd mocking her for wearing a red and white gown. Everything changes now. Our girl vows revenge on her father, her brother, and her fiancé, Marcel Vieira, since the sister was having an affair with him. Smug Marcel is on the list for helping have her killed. Now, she'll focus on saving her mother, the Duchess, and finding real happiness. She's done clinging to worthless scum. If this is a second chance, her first move is to deal with the man who betrayed her. If this is a second chance, she won't repeat her foolish mistakes. To stop the tragedy, Episode 4 of Why Yuria Hid Her Wealth begins with her resolve to change everything. Sharp knocks sound at the ornate door. Our girl calls for her visitor to come in, and her fiancé Marcel enters the room wearing a formal coat. The man who drove her to her death asks if she's feeling better. Standing by the window, she looks over her shoulder and meets his eyes with a freezing stare. Marcel acts polite, but his concern is fake. Yuria remembers how her past self would have made excuses for his coldness, convinced he came out of concern. All he really wanted was a reason to see the sister. He even carries the same handkerchief from his last life, bearing a crest that doesn't belong to his house. That handkerchief has the primrose crest. In fact, he rejected our girl's gift years ago, saying it was uncomfortable to accept an engagement present before marriage. Our girl freezes in shock, apologizing for the misunderstanding. He was quick to reject her then. Now, he notices she's quiet, but she just says she's fine. He's clearly awkward around the new her. Our girl drops the bombshell, telling Marcel she knows he's in love with her sister. He jolts in shock, stuttering and asking what she's talking about, but she knows he'd deny it at first. She points out he didn't even hide it well. The man snaps, telling her to take her anger out on him and threatening that he won't stand for her, hurting his secret love. Threats don't work on someone who's already died. Our girl just smiles brightly and tells him she actually wants to support their love. He's stunned, wondering what she's up to this time. She explains that her long illness and life and death experience changed her perspective, making her realize she's been living too selfishly. The man thanks her for dealing with his childish antics. She mentions that while changing fiancés within the family happens, her father won't like it. Then she offers to share a plan to fix things. Her goal is to ruin him completely. The scene shifts to the palace at night, as carriages arrive with a clip-clop sound. The doors creak open and the announcer calls out our girl's arrival. As heels click, guests whisper about her being late. A noblewoman notes our girl is late, while another asks if she thinks she's the star. Our girl calls for her sister, who freezes. Our girl arrives in a stunning blue dress. She apologizes for being late, knowing the sister is surprised since she used a maid to lie about a red dress code to humiliate her. In her past, she was the jealous older sister for showing up in red, but this time she's in blue. She looks at her sister's pink gown, knowing another surprise is coming. The sister gulps nervously as the guests start murmuring. They've spotted the MC's fiancé approaching, and the realization begins to hit. The man walks to the center of the room. The crowd realizes he's wearing a white suit with a pink vest and cravat that perfectly coordinate with the birthday girl's pink dress. The sister is speechless as guests whisper about the pink clothes. She panics, wondering how he could have known the secret color of her gown. The crowd notes they look like a coordinated couple, which is a disaster for her reputation. She forces a smile and tells him he must have misunderstood the dress code, hoping to stop the gossip. Marcel says it's not a mistake. He reveals the handkerchief, claiming he can't stand the misunderstanding that our girl gave it to him. He says he can't hide his feelings anymore. The man drops to one knee and shouts, "Please marry me!" As the sister freezes in shock and guests watch, our girl just watches the scene with a cold, satisfied smirk. Our girl reflects on her marvelous results, seeing the man she once loved as an excellent puppet. Suddenly, a furious shout of "damn bastard" erupts from the grand estate under the stars. The Duke slams his desk, yelling that there's a limit to ignoring the Primrose name. He's livid. A newly risen noble made them a laughingstock to crawl his way up. Nearby, the Duchess holds the sobbing sister. Our girl watches them, thinking it's actually good. She recalls telling the fiancé that if they look good together, the Duke can't oppose them. She warned him it was his last chance to capture the sister. In the flashback, the man decided to be a real man and publicly propose. It worked perfectly. The scandal has stained the prestigious duchy the Duke cares about, and the sister is caught in the gossip. Present-day Lilica claims she's fine and will stay out of the way for love. Our girl prepares to act. The Duke yells that love doesn't matter, only the family disgrace. The sister sobs, blaming her shortcomings. The Duchess comforts our girl, telling her not to say such things. The MC wipes away fake tears, sniffing and blaming her own inadequacy for the betrayal. Suddenly, a sharp knock sounds at the door. The brother and sister enter, and the Duke yells at them for being late. The boy claims the handkerchief meant nothing, but our girl recognizes her sister's habit of making others speak for her. The Duke is finished with the nonsense, yelling that the engagement must be cancelled immediately. The brother stammers as his father asks if he's out of his mind after such a public disgrace. The Duke points at the sister, demanding to know why she caused this trouble by giving the handkerchief to her sister's fiancé. Our girl sits calmly, waiting to see what she does. The girl cries that our girl is bad at embroidery, so the man only asks for her work. She swears she meant no harm, while our girl mocks her for the excuses. The Duke groans at her foolishness. Lilica plays her final card, crying and asking her father if a noble education even matters since she was born an illegitimate child. Yuria recognizes this as her sister's favorite trump card. While the Duke immediately blames Marcel for the mess, the Duchess interjects. She tells the girl she doesn't need to say things like that, firmly stating her origins have nothing to do with this and she's already a full member of the Primrose family. When the illegitimate sister thanks her mother, the Duchess stays firm. She demands to know why Lilica and Jikasin Doran, her son, are wearing the same color. Jikasin looks stunned. Yuria is impressed by this rare show of strength, especially since she was just about to point out that suspicious detail herself. The girl stammers and laughs nervously, trying to claim the matching colors were just a coincidence. It's a weak excuse since every other banquet guest was wearing blue. Yuria points out how hard it is to believe in coincidences when only those two wore pink. She tells her sister to stop hiding the truth because she understands everything. Our protagonist smirks, wondering how it feels for her rival to finally be the one getting manipulated. Panicked, the sister swears she doesn't know anything about it. Jikasin clenches his fist and shouts for everyone to stop, claiming his younger sister is the one hurting most. He steps forward, suggesting there are secret circumstances, before telling his mother to stop siding with Yuria just because she's her biological child. The Duchess is visibly shocked that her son could say something so cruel. Yuria is disgusted that the boy mocks his mother but stays silent when his father scolds the girl. She wonders how he can hate the woman who raised his half-sister without any discrimination. The protagonist speaks up, telling her father that talking in circles is pointless. She suggests they call for the young master, Marcel Vieira, to settle this right now. The Duchess vows that no one will ever touch her daughter again. She promises to handle the engagement annulment with the Duke, telling her girl not to worry about any of it. Holding her mother's hand, Yuria remembers her previous life. She thinks about her mother on her deathbed and the words she could never say back then, deciding to confess her deeper thoughts this time. Our girl tells her mother she'll do better and begs her to focus only on herself. She's terrified the stress will ruin the woman's already poor health. The Duchess sighs, admitting she's been reflecting on a lot today. The mother admits she was wrong to stay out of things and promises to attend social events to strengthen her daughter's position. Meanwhile, a memory flashes of Marcel and the sister promising to cherish their forbidden love since Yuria won't recognize it. Back in the present, the sister is shocked that her secrets are out. The brother demands to know what's happening, but the panicked girl cries to her father. She claims Marcel is just making up lies and begs the Duke to believe she never said those things. Marcel enters the study and tells the girl not to be scared because Yuria already gave them her blessing. The sister covers her face in horror as the trap closes. She realizes her older sibling planned this while the brother yells at Marcel for talking nonsense about his sister. The former fiancé points at our girl and asks if she threatened his lover. The protagonist stays calm, asking why she'd ever do that while thinking that he's just digging his own grave. The man continues to shout, unable to understand why he's being rejected. The scoundrel yells that Yuria is an inherently wicked woman who plots behind everyone's back. The Duke finally snaps, shouting that he's heard enough. He refuses to let either of his daughters be with a man like this. The Duke declares the engagement is over and orders the scoundrel dragged out of the room. Later, in the bedroom, the Duchess tells her daughter she's shocked Marcel turned out to be such a person, especially after he insulted her like that. As her mother apologizes for the engagement, our girl remembers the brutality of her past life. She recalls how Marcel was despicable enough to violently drag her back to her father by her hair whenever she tried to escape his cruelty. The girl laughs it off as a lesson in judging people. Back in the study, she stands resolute and suggests her father call for the young master to settle the matter once and for all. The Duke orders the son to do as his sister says. Shocked, the boy tries to protest, claiming his half-sister's current state is more important. The Duke slams his chair and tells the boy to get a grip, refusing to let the girl's drama derail the talk. He calls his successor foolish for being so weak. The boy hangs his head in shame, while the illegitimate sister cries for his help. Yuria just watches with a cold look. Marcel mutters that it's unbelievable. Lilica has no feelings for him, shaken by how fast the family turned. Watching him with cold eyes, our girl notes how quickly her sister cuts ties with people she can't use. She clutches her dress, her face half hidden by her silver hair, while her mother looks on at the chaos. The protagonist notices her sister's rare anxiety, thinking the girl has never actually been in trouble before. When the son asks about the romantic handkerchief she gave Marcel, the girl is startled. She tries to deflect, claiming the man insisted and she only gave it to him because her sister's embroidery was bad. The man tries to counter the lie, claiming he remembers exactly what she said when she gave him the gift. But the brother, tired of the disgrace and the petty squabbling, shuts him down by shouting for silence. He decides he'll bring the man in to be held accountable for everything. Marcel bows deeply, apologizing for the commotion while admitting he knows his standing as a count's son might not satisfy the Duke. The father stays silent with his back turned, looking at his bookshelves in anger. The man pleads that his feelings are sincere and begs for permission to be with her. The sister looks horrified while the brother tells his father this is just a one-sided claim. Seeing an opening, the girl turns away with feigned innocence, apologizing for the misunderstanding and claiming she was only being kind because he was her sister's fiancé. The mother stands up in a rage, asking why the man hasn't apologized to Yuria for focusing on another girl while engaged. She calls him a shameless liar. When he tries to claim it's all a misunderstanding, the Duke cuts him off with a booming command for silence, warning the scoundrel he'll regret saying another word. The Duke condemns the man for slandering both of his daughters, a blow that basically kills his reputation. The man is in total shock, realizing his plan to secure a future has backfired completely and left him with only the family's hatred. The man is confused, thinking everyone has it wrong. He remembers his rival looking sad while leaning against him, hearing her voice tell him she loved him. He tells himself the kind girl wouldn't lie on her own, unable to accept she used him. The Duchess strokes her daughter's hair, admitting she was wrong to stay quiet. She vows to attend more social events to solidify the girl's position, so no one will ever be able to touch her again. The protagonist looks at her mother with tears in her eyes. The warm moment turns dark as she remembers that in her past life, her mother died just a few months before she turned 20. She recalls the maid's panic as the woman collapsed and the trauma of everyone screaming for a doctor. The cause of death was lead poisoning from cosmetics, which is common in a world with slow technology where noble women use toxic white powders. Her mother usually had a weak constitution and rarely went out, so she hardly ever wore makeup. Since she barely used makeup, she should have been at a lower risk for poisoning, but as our girl remembers the somber funeral in the rain, a mystery takes root. She can't figure out why such a careful woman died from a poison she rarely touched. The mother was the first noblewoman of her age to die from lead poisoning. Back in the present, Marcel is begging for the Duke to listen. Our girl realizes her mother is currently vulnerable to the same schemes that killed her before. Marcel asks why the death was so sudden if she rarely used makeup. The Duke explodes, slapping the man to the ground and screaming that she died because she used lead powder for the sake of appearances. He refuses to listen to any suspicions, and his denial basically shields whoever the real culprit is. The Duke wipes his hands and storms out, leaving the sister alone in the hall. Our protagonist reflects that her mother is the only one who ever tried to protect her. She's determined to be the one who protects her mother this time. Looking at her mother's memory, the girl vows she will not lose her in this life. She promises to do her best for their shared happiness, smiling through her tears as she commits to changing their fate. Since the scandal, the sister hasn't shown her face. The brother also seems intimidated, so the pointless provocations have stopped. This piece lets our girl finally enjoy a comfortable tea time on the balcony with her mother. During tea, the girl asks if her mother wants to go to the upcoming festival together. The Duchess smiles and agrees. Our protagonist's face lights up with a bright, joyful smile, thrilled by this genuine connection. But the happier she gets, the more anxious she feels knowing her mother's death is close. Seeing her mother's reflection in her tea, she's convinced Lilica is behind the scheme. Her resolve hardens because she has to act before the poisoning starts. The girl knows that without proof, she'll just look crazy. She clutches her head in frustration since there's no one to ask for help. Her mother notices the distress and asks what has her so worried, forcing our protagonist to quickly act calm. Our girl tries to deflect, but her mother suddenly starts coughing violently. The protagonist rushes to her side. Terrified, she's coughing up blood. Suddenly, a memory hits her about the dishes the woman used in her past life. The girl remembers the dishes from the past were perfectly clean, which means the poison wasn't on the plates. She realizes someone must have mixed it into the food while cooking. She looks at her mother with dread, realizing the kitchen is likely where the murder happens. Our protagonist decides she needs to meet the butler after tea. He comes from a family that has served for generations and is very proud, which makes him a trusted figure for the employees even if he's a bit stiff. The girl senses the man sees her as a disgrace and is being disrespectful, but she orders him to follow her to the kitchen anyway. He's confused and asks if he needs to scold someone for a bad meal, but she tells him that's not it. She admits it's weird for her to go to the kitchen, but she tells him she'd have gone alone if she just wanted to yell at someone. She asks for his cooperation, telling him there's a good reason for this. Humbled by her firm attitude, the man apologizes for overstepping. As they walk through the halls, our girl admits she needs the butler's trust and influence since her own reputation with the staff is terrible. He's hesitant about her barging in, but she's determined to catch the culprit off guard. The girl bursts through the kitchen doors, sending the staff into a panic. The butler calls for everyone to greet her, but our protagonist stays cold. She ignores their nervous questions and orders everyone to stop what they're doing and take their hands off the dishes immediately. She demands the fearful staff keep their eyes on her. Our girl is terrifyingly focused, wanting to confirm the truth in front of everyone so nobody can claim they didn't see it or that things were tampered with. Standing before the silent staff, the protagonist repeats that she needs witnesses. She reflects that the most miserable part of her first life wasn't her own death, but the fact that she failed to save her mother. While maids whisper about her skipping meals for 5 days, the girl draws a glowing magic circle on parchment. She's preparing a magical trap to stop whoever is trying to kill her mother. Yuria Primrose isolates herself in her room every day, leaving everyone wondering, what is she even doing in there? For her, it all started after losing her mother. Vowing to find out who killed her mother, something she couldn't imagine in her first life, the girl marches into the kitchen and stuns the staff. Knowing her mother always ate this syrup, our girl suspects the people here. If something is wrong, she vows she will never let this happen again. Asking if all the kitchen staff are present, the protagonist rejects their help, insisting this is something she must do herself to honor her mother's memory. She orders the staff to keep their eyes on her, holding a mysterious flower that leaves the monocle-wearing butler impressed by her command. Holding a blue flower, the girl predicts a specific reaction and drops it into the boiling syrup. A servant gasps, realizing there is something in the Duchess's food. The butler orders silence, while our girl identifies the wildflower as Bakos, a resilient plant that produces a unique reaction when it comes into contact with lead. Smoke and a foul smell erupt as the lead turns black. Our girl realized this toxic syrup was used on her mother's desserts and knows she has finally found the culprit. The protagonist demands to know who is responsible, and a pink-haired maid hesitantly confesses. Our girl realizes this servant was actually one of Lilika's close maids. The pink-haired maid explains she joined the household 6 months ago and has been handling this since then, nervously asking if there is a problem. After the butler confirms the reaction, the girl orders the maid detained for the attempted murder of the Duchess, calling for the knights immediately. The staff is shocked by the murder accusation, but our girl explains that the Bakos flour reacts with lead, proving the cooking pot is toxic. The maid begs for mercy, swearing. There is a misunderstanding, but the butler emphasizes the seriousness of the charge. She can only stutter that she is innocent because... A memory shows Lilika kindly asking the new kitchen maid if she has any difficulties, acting every bit as beautiful and kind as the rumors say. Lilika pretended to care, getting the maid to admit that standard thick pots were a hassle for small tasks like syrup, then telling her it was fine to complain. Handing over a much smaller pot, Lilika claims she just wants to help, while the naive maid is touched that a noble would care about someone like her. Pleading with the protagonist, the maid insists she never intended harm and assumes Lilika just made an oversight. She's sure there must be an explanation. Our girl scoffs, asking what justifies almost killing someone. She realizes the Duchess's daily dessert made her highly susceptible to lead poisoning and concludes that Lilika killed her mother. The butler orders the staff to hurry and fetch the other sister. Lilika soon enters the kitchen, ready to face the situation with her usual calm facade. Lilika admits to gifting the pot because she felt bad for the maid. She claims she bought the durable tool from a street merchant as a child and didn't know it was lead. Pushed for details, Lilika claims she can't remember the street. She argues she would never have eaten the dangerous dessert herself if she had known the truth. The sister plays the victim, but our girl sees right through this slippery little snake trying to weasel her way out. She remembers that the girl always had a very specific excuse for avoiding those same desserts at the family table. In the memory, Lilika avoided the sweets for 6 months, claiming her stomach felt bad and suggesting a doctor. Our girl realizes the plan was to poison them both. Yuria points out she would have been next after their mother. She demands to know if the girl will at least admit that using a non-standard pot was a mistake. The maid desperately points out her mistress told her to use that pot, but Lilika glares and coldly asks if the girl has lost her mind. Lilika claims the pot was only for decoration and ruthlessly discards her pawn to maintain her act as a wronged victim. As the staff whispers in confusion, our protagonist watches her sister, thinking the more wicked Lilika becomes, the more satisfying her final revenge will feel. The incident ends with the maid being dragged away, still crying about her innocence while facing a severe punishment. Servants mutter about the lead pot scandal and how the Duchess could have died as they watch the maid led away through the manor doors. Lilika cries out for her mother as the Duchess collapses. In the gossip that follows, the incident plants seeds of fear among the sisters' remaining pawns. Alone in the shadows, Lilika wonders how her sister knew. Doubts begin to fester as she fears one of her own pawns might have switched sides. The Duchess thanks the girl for saving her life, but the protagonist warns that lead might still be in her system from all those desserts. The girl presents a moisturizer she made herself from calendula flowers. Her mother is shocked, never having seen beauty products made entirely from nature. Yuria explains the cream helps dry skin, revealing she used her plant growth abilities to grow the flowers out of season. The Primrose children have special powers called blessings. Jikisen Doran has the sword, while Lilika was said to possess healing. Blessed with the gift of growth, our girl's early experiments were crushing. Back then she realized her power had no effect on humans or animals. Frustrated that her gift only grew plants, she kept researching, certain there was more to her ability than just rapid growth. Realizing these plants have special powers, she decides to use them for cosmetics, a hobby from her previous life she can finally master. Cosmetics from her previous life come in handy as the Duchess tries the cream. She loves the soft feel, and thankfully, there's no allergic reaction. Grasping her daughter's hands, the Duchess acknowledges the silent hard work she never knew about. Her mother pulls her into a warm embrace, praising her efforts, Far away, an attendant informs the Crown Prince everything is ready for their outing. Meet Crown Prince Enoch Piast, a blonde man in a red and white military uniform with gold epaulets. He sternly thanks his attendant as he heads out. At the ball, the Duchess is swarmed by noblewomen who praise her beauty and ask what she uses for such smooth skin. The mother keeps the inventor secret for now, promising a reveal later, while her daughter tells her she looks amazing. The social success successfully diverts attention from the scandals involving Lilica, leaving everyone focused on the Duchess instead. Popularity has made the Duchess very busy lately, which our girl notes as they walk through the sunny city street. Declining all invitations to spend time with her daughter, the mother suggests visiting a dress shop now that her health is back. Entering as the bell chimes, the mother orders a beautiful dress for her daughter, and our girl happily agrees. A shop assistant welcomes them, offering tea, and mentioning a previously ordered dress is ready to be tried on. Peace was nice while it lasted, but a chime and heavy footsteps break the silence. A voice she knows all too well rings out, and our protagonist, Uriah Primrose, immediately recognizes Marcel Vieira. The guy looks a mess and reeks of alcohol. He smirks about their coincidence, but she's cold, wondering if he's following her. He snarks about her making a scene in society lately, though internally, he feels like he's rotting in hell. Losing it, the loser grabs her wrist so hard she winces. He snarls that Lilica is avoiding him because of her schemes, leaving our girl shocked and in pain. While the shop staff whisper in fear, Uriah tells him to stop and asks why their relationship drama is her fault. He just sneers, demanding to know how she threatened innocent Lilica. She looks at him with pure disdain, asking if his lack of charm is why his girl's feelings faded. Pushed to the limit, the man grits his teeth and mutters a threat. His face goes dark with rage as he demands to know what she just said. The MC winces, realizing this bastard might actually snap her wrist, spotting knights in red and white uniforms. Patrolling outside, she realizes she needs help now. She shouts for the staff to call them, screaming that the man is drunk and out of his mind. Just as the staff panics, a hand stops the man mid-grip. Crown Prince Enoch Piast steps in, commanding him to stop because he just can't stand by and watch this. The loser is terrified to see the Crown Prince. Enoch declares that blaming a former fiancé for a failed courtship makes him a disgrace as both a noble and a knight. Stunned by the help, she recalls her previous life before she regressed. Back then, she was mocked for her family background being the only reason she was even engaged. Flashback socialites joked they'd reject the eccentric daughter. They gossiped that she was decent looking but had nothing to offer compared to her sister, who they saw as the better choice. Back then, our girl couldn't even argue because she agreed with them. She knew any apology would be fake and she'd just look like a troublemaker. Leaving quietly seemed smart, until she remembered her fiancé asking her own younger sister to be his dance partner instead. The man gripped her wrist, asking if she had an issue. It hurt, but his accusations of her lying and being violent haunted her long after that life ended. The prince wipes his hand in disgust. Embarrassed to be a fellow man, he asks if Uriah really threatened her sister to ruin things. He wonders if the guy stayed engaged while hiding an affair. Our girl feels her heart race as he speaks with such calm conviction. The Duchess rushes in, alarmed by the injured wrist. She demands to know what the meaning of this is while the man just clicks his tongue. Making a pathetic excuse about a meeting with his father, the coward quickly backs away and takes his leave of the prince. Gritting her teeth at the coward, our girl hears the prince tell her not to worry. He then asks to see her injured wrist. Luckily, there were no fractures, but the skin was damaged. This scene is from episode 11 of her story. She says she'll be fine, and the Duchess bows deep, thanking the prince for saving her daughter. He just waves it off. He asks about the young princess Vivienne. The Duchess says her health is the same as always, and they both hope she gets better so she can finally go outside. The prince wants his sister to enjoy the world, but he gets serious and asks them to keep her condition a total secret. The secret? Princess Vivienne has been dealing with a horrible skin condition since she was 10 years old, something the imperial family keeps hidden. The condition gave her severe social anxiety, trapping her in the palace. She only sees a few maids and her brother, though she's still curious about high society gossip. He explains he came to the shop to check out current styles. He hopes that telling her about the world outside will eventually make her want to join it. His real motive was the Duchess. He'd heard her skin looked amazing lately and asked if there was a secret behind her clear, lead-free complexion. The prince offers to repay them for the secret. Our girl notices how humble he is, not using his status as leverage, then admits she gave her mom a special cream. Enoch looks surprised. He's excited to get some for the princess, but our girl shuts it down. She explains that different skin types need different ingredients, and she won't risk his sister's health. Warning about side effects, she stands her ground. A heavy silence falls over the tea as the prince looks disappointed, leaving her to brainstorm. She decides she needs to see the princess in person. When he's startled, She explains she's the one who actually made the cream. After she reveals her secret, the prince is stunned. Meanwhile, the dark and imposing princess's palace sits quietly in the night. A maid grumbles about hauling food to the princess. She knocks, announcing dinner, but hates that she has to come back for the dishes later. Silence follows, fearing the deadly rumors. She's startled when a senior staff member asks if she's the new girl. The head maid orders her to leave meals outside, warning that the princess must never be disturbed. Dahlia knocks. From the shadows, the veiled princess confirms she is alone. An official royal invitation arrives at the manor. A voice questions if the letter is really for our girl, clearly surprised by the royal attention. The knight confirms the prince is in a hurry and sent the carriage. Our girl recalls their recent meeting at the boutique. In a flashback, she tells him she's the one who formulated the cream. He's shocked, finding it hard to believe a noble lady could make something so effective. She schools him on the market's remedies, like using demonic horns and toxic lead powder. She explains she studied plants to help her mother's delicate health, regardless of his belief. The prince asks for her direct help. Our girl is jolted by the request, realizing her secret hobby is now a royal matter. He asks her to wait for an invitation while he talks to his sister. Later, she looks out at the knight, feeling a bit jealous of the princess's brother. A knight arrives, but just as they're about to leave, our girl's sister comes screaming her name and running toward them. Breathless, Lilika asks why the royal carriage is there. Our girl stays cool, promising to be back soon while the other girl starts to fume. The sister tries to walk back her insults, claiming she's just worried about her inexperience. Coldly, our girl dares her to repeat that "someone like me" comment. She tries to take her sister's place, claiming it's for the family. Our girl sees right through her obsession with the crown prince. Putting on a fake concerned face, she suggests Yuria lay low after her failed engagement and offers to go in her place. The knights are disgusted by the sister's behavior. Our girl smirks as the guard firmly reminds everyone the order is specifically for her. The knight confirms they're on a schedule. Heart thumping, the pale sister asks if the royal appointment is real, remembering the prince's worry. Our girl watches the night pass as she travels toward the palace. Lilika Primrose plasters on a radiant fake smile and wishes our protagonist, Yuria, a good time. Watching from the carriage with a cold, analytical look, our girl knows the blonde is seething inside, hiding her real face behind that grin. The blonde says her sister's words are worth remembering, but she cuts our girl off before she can finish. As the carriage door clicks shut, she warns that rumors are terrifying, specifically the unsettling ones claiming our protagonist seduced the sister's fiancé. Our girl scoffs that she should take advice from someone so experienced. She asks if her sister forgot their mother's question, making the blonde's smile waver. Before leaving, she tells her to find an excuse for acting like a lover with Marcel Vieira in matching outfits. Giving her sister one last cold smirk, the protagonist leaves. The blonde stands alone in the courtyard, her face twisting with dark, silent rage as the carriage disappears. As the carriage fades into the distance, the sister realizes something. Every recent disaster must have been our girl's plan from the very start. Flashback voices whisper about our girl as her downcast sister mirrors their cruel words. While the sister broods, our girl sits calmly with her hands folded, nearing the gates. An imperial knight helps our girl out of the carriage. She steps out, resolving to take everything. The knight escorts our girl through the palace. She stays focused as her path leads deep into the grounds to meet the secluded Princess Vivian. After a long walk past the entrance, our girl meets a personal maid named Dahlia. Nervous, but ready, she follows her toward the princess's palace. They reach the grand double doors. The maid knocks, and a voice from inside tells them to enter. Our protagonist enters and starts a formal introduction. But the princess stops her. Her face is hidden behind a thick black veil as she bluntly dismisses the formalities. Vivian invites our girl to sit. They share tea while the chapter asks why she's been hiding her wealth. Our girl asks about her host's favorite tea, but the princess stays silent. An hour later, the noblewoman is sweating. Our girl needs rapport before talking skincare, but Vivian wonders why her brother Enoch Piast even brought her here. The princess recalls rumors of our girl's bad attitude. She only agreed to this meeting because she recalls people whispering that her own face, once beautiful, is now severe. She recalls noble women fawning over the younger sister's porcelain skin. They cruelly whispered that if they looked like the princess, they wouldn't even want to live, begging the blonde not to be harsh. Back then, the sister made cutting remarks about not leaving the house. With a thumping heart, the princess wondered why she had to endure such cruel gossip that nobody would dare say to her face. In her despair, the princess thought she'd rather die than live like this. She remembers the sister addressing her and believes the blonde was the only one who stood by her. When asked how she knows the prince, our girl gives a soft smile. She explains he helped her out when her ex-fiancé, Marcel Vieira, was threatening her at a tailor's because her brother said he was dependable. Showing her scarred wrist, our girl explains the prince saved her from a broken bone. Vivian thinks the ex-fiancé is a total monster. Vivian explodes, asking why she'd ever marry a guy like that. She quickly apologizes for the outburst, realizing our girl couldn't have known his true nature back then. Seeing the tension ease, our girl explains that everyone has different skin types. She asks if she can look at the princess's face to tailor a solution just for her. The princess hesitates to show what she calls a hideous face, but our girl promises to be quick. Vivian asks how a non-priest can help. Our girl realizes the princess is just being defensive because she feels like an untrustworthy stranger. The protagonist admits she's no doctor and can't guarantee anything. She even confesses her own mother's recovery might have just been luck. Despite saying she can't guarantee results, our girl vows to do everything possible. The princess watches her intently through the dark veil, tired of false promises. The princess finds this honesty refreshing. She takes our girl's hands, touched that she came despite not being able to promise a cure. The princess looks at our girl and decides to trust her. The condition is worse than expected. Our girl begins her checkup and asks what kind of treatments have been tried before. Vivian says even holy magic only helped temporarily. She feels guilty for wasting divine healing power that should have gone to people who are actually sick. The princess claims she's satisfied living quietly and hiding. Hearing this, our girl recalls her initial goal was just repaying the prince's kindness for helping her. Our girl finishes the exam with quiet determination. As the checkup ends, Vivian wonders if looking at her face was hard. Regardless, our girl just wants to help her. They discuss using lavender and aloe. While the flowers are easy, our girl warns that finding aloe might be tough. Our girl refuses to give up on aloe, so the princess offers her private garden as a secret workshop. She promises to source every single material needed. The princess makes her help an imperial command, so our girl accepts. The protagonist warns her away from useless bone powders while refusing to guarantee a miracle. Vivian wonders why they're keeping this secret instead of boosting our girl's status. The protagonist simply admits her social reputation is trash and warns her to stay away from fakes. Our girl worries that rumors of them together will hurt the princess. Vivian tells her to be confident, recalling how the noblewoman helped her when they were young. Prince Enoch Piast arrives to check on them. His sister is surprised and asks why he didn't call ahead. The prince apologizes for being absent and notices how quickly his sister opened up. It's the first time he's seen her talk to anyone but her maid. Flustered, the princess shouts at her brother to leave. Enoch just laughs and offers to escort our girl back to her carriage. Enoch returns later and asks his sister for her honest first impression of our girl after their long meeting. The princess says our girl is different from other nobles. She never offers cheap sympathy, a trait she's apparently had since they were kids. The prince recalls a flashback of our protagonist calling out to him when they were younger. He remembers her smile being like warm sunlight but stays silent. The princess is left wondering what her brother is really thinking. The princess tells her maid to contact the fastest merchant guild. She wants every ingredient on the list our girl wrote, ordered immediately. The prince wonders if his sister noticed anything as a few days pass. Our girl finally finishes the treatment right on time. She admits she had to overuse her magical blessing because the plant struggled with the palace environment. A memory of collapsing from exhaustion hits our girl, a reminder that her powers have limits. Mass production is definitely off the table. Yuria wonders why there has not been any contact yet when her door suddenly slams open. A silver-haired, red-eyed man looms there in the shadows, revealed to be her father, Duke Primrose. The Duke glares at her, asking coldly if she has lost her ability to think, sweat-beaded and stunned by the aggressive intrusion. Our girl wonders why he is even here. He stands over her with a demanding expression, clearly furious with her recent behavior. Slashing his fist onto the table in high agitation over her palace antics, the Duke shouts for Jickason and Lilika to be summoned to the room immediately. In a grand hallway, our protagonist approaches Princess Vivian, and a startled Lilika, she gracefully apologizes for her siblings' immaturity and lack of education, a public embarrassment that leaves the younger girl biting her lip in fury. The princess overlooks the rudeness for our girl's sake. Watching them leave, her sister trembles with envy, wishing her own healing powers could have won the royal's favor instead. In the parlor, Vivian asks if she is using a new cosmetic. Yuria clarifies it is her usual cream, noting that in this world, priests usually handle even minor injuries. The princess agrees many people will need these products. She suggests the girl talk to her brother, the crown prince, noting that the man is a genuine expert when it comes to business. The princess promises to arrange a meeting. A few days later, our MC walks through the palace in an elegant new dress. nervous about whether the crown prince will actually care for her plan. Musing on how a royal partnership could solve her financial issues while keeping her identity secret, she encounters Jikison. He coldly dismisses her, claiming he is too busy to talk. Frustrated that her brother made her late, the girl rushes down the hall. Nearby, she hears the princess scolding someone for wasting her time and ignoring her orders to call for our protagonist. The princess firmly tells Lilika she has no business with her. When our protagonist finally arrives to apologize for being late, her sister is left looking up in total shock. Light floods the room as she opens the doors and hears a voice call her name. The Duke is skeptical, asking if the princess really visited just to thank our girl. Jikison confirms the royal's high regard, leaving his father stunned since he has not seen her in years. When the Duke asks what happened, our girl watches him with disgust, knowing he only cares now that she is valuable. Meanwhile, Jikison snaps in frustration, accusing her of plotting to become the crown princess. Bored by the yelling, the girl realizes who has been gossiping and dismisses them as family. The butler interrupts the argument, announcing that the princess is currently waiting for her. Jikison is frozen in shock as the girl gathers her skirts and leaves, unable to believe the princess visited. Our protagonist tells her brother to step aside so she does not keep the royal guest waiting. Later, the princess admits she genuinely enjoys their conversations. The princess admits she finally feels like she has found a friend, a feeling she had long forgotten. Our girl is deeply moved, realizing she has never had a true friend herself before now. Our girl confirms her plan to start a cosmetics business, explaining that her products do not just look good, they also function as healing ointments for wounds. Our girl presents a floral cream, but the princess reveals she did not come for the cosmetics. She has a much more personal reason for today's visit, leaving the girl confused. Lifting her veil, the princess reveals her clear skin and beautiful face. She explains that while it is not fully healed, she wanted to thank the girl in person for the transformation. Blushing, the royal asks if she can call her by her name and continue meeting regardless of business. Meanwhile, in his office, the Duke is stunned that their meeting is a secret. Setting a trap for her siblings, our girl tells the Duke that the princess was actually angry. Before he can react, the butler steps forward to explain exactly what happened. The butler reveals everything Lilika and Jikison did. Enraged by his children's interference, the Duke slams the desk in a fit of parental fury. The crown prince admits he trusts her and will keep their secret, even as he clenches his fist. Enoch laughs while they walk, noting that earning his and his sister's trust is no easy feat. He teases our girl for repeatedly thanking him, leaving her pouting in her mind. With the contract sealed, the prince suddenly moves uncomfortably close. Flustered, our girl wonders what he is doing as he smiles knowingly. A dark secret from the prince's past begins to emerge. On a rainy night in a mountainous forest, a carriage crash leaves several people lying unmoving on the wet ground. Young Enoch reaches out in despair toward the bodies of his mother, Amira, and his brother, July. Covered in blood and rain, he is forced to watch his family be taken from him. Reviewing the documents, the prince suggests listing all ingredients and offering free samples. This way, potential customers can test the cream before they commit to buying anything. Enoch loves the sample idea as a way to reach people who do not care about beauty. Our girl shifts the focus, asking if his interest is genuine or just because of his sister. The prince confirms his interest, but our girl demands he explain what specific benefits he brings. She makes it clear she is not restricted to his investment and can look elsewhere, asserting her right to weigh the pros and cons. The girl knows royal backing is the only way to counter noble opposition and her sister Lilika's rising status as a saintess. Reminding herself that confidence is key, the girl is startled by the prince's sudden laughter. He agrees she has a point. Our protagonist recalls her siblings' sour expressions as they were forced to apologize to her for the very first time. Resetting her focus for this important day, the girl enters the room as the prince welcomes her. He asks for her thoughts on the proposal, but she has one more thing to say before answering. In a flashback, the Duke slams his fist down and orders his staff to summon both Jikison and Lilika to his office immediately. The Duke harshly scolds the pair for disrespecting the imperial family. Jikison pathetically claims he was just worried about his sister being rude, but his father is not buying the excuse. After ordering them to apologize to our girl, the scene shifts back to the present. The prince begins explaining the massive scale of the royal family's trading companies. They finally reach an agreement for a direct investment under the prince's name. Our girl accepts but insists on keeping her identity as the company president a secret for now. Enoch questions the secrecy. But our girl believes revealing her identity as the creator is far too risky. To minimize variables, she asks if his interest is just repayment for helping his sister. He clarifies that Vivian is a separate matter. He is genuinely interested in the business. Seeing huge potential for products that heal scars, the prince asks for more details on why skin needs vary so much between different people. They both agree that product development and management are separate areas that should be handled by different experts. Enoch reaches out to remove dust from her hair, a considerate gesture that leaves the girl blushing and totally flustered. Wondering what is so funny, our girl warns him to be more careful around other ladies to avoid misunderstandings. He agrees, but she still finds his constant amusement strange for a future emperor. As she accepts more tea, the prince recalls his childhood, where his parents fought constantly. His mother would often flee to her parents' house, and one day, he begged to go along. He, his older brother July, and Vivian all joined their mother in the carriage. It suddenly overturned in the forest, killing everyone except for the two youngest siblings. His father cruelly blamed him for the deaths, screaming that it was his fault for encouraging them to go. But soon, a horrifying truth about the accident would be revealed. Our boy Enoch Piast's father had killed his mother just to give her position to his mistress. When his grandfather found out the truth, the old emperor was absolutely enraged. The ruler disowned his son and exiled the wretch who killed his wife from the capital, ordering him away until the day he dies. He then named his young grandson the new heir. The father was dragged away shouting and asking how his own parent could do this. The emperor told the boy he trusted him to fulfill his duties, but it felt like a chilling threat. The boy understood the warning perfectly. He was being told not to follow in his father's footsteps if he wanted to survive. Years later, his father returned as a corpse. Gossipers whispered that he fell ill suddenly, but others wondered if the emperor falsely accused him just to cast him out. For the longest time, the prince had hated his father as a murderer who killed his wife and son, but these rumors leave him deeply conflicted. Stunned by the possibility the rumors are true, the heir experienced sudden physical distress. He looks so unwell and falters that a servant asks if he's all right, claiming he needs air. The prince flees the funeral and sprints away. He's terrified he can't keep being the emperor's perfect grandson. He wonders if he'll be the next one discarded for crossing his grandfather until a silver-haired figure suddenly appears. The prince recognizes the red eyes and silver hair of a young Uriah Primrose. She lets out a sigh, admitting she thought a monster had jumped out. The boy calls himself a monster. When she tries to deny it, he asks what if he is, since his own father was one. Our girl asks if this is only because of what his father did. She points out that by that logic, his sister Vivian would also be a monster. She asks him directly why he sees himself as different from her. He realizes he'd never view his sister that way. He remembers being bloodied while protecting baby Vivian in a carriage wreck and knows she isn't a monster. Our girl asks why he'd call himself something he'd never say to his sister. He's struck, realizing nobody ever suggested he be kind to himself before. He remembers nobles whispering about his loss and the scary rumors. They praised his maturity as the pride of the empire, but nobody ever actually considered his feelings. The girl admits she's likely too young to know much. He smiles brightly, thanking her and promising to remember those words for a long time. The prince runs back to his grandfather, apologizing for his dizziness. He declares he'll be an excellent ruler who is different from his father. The old man laughs loudly at the boy's bold vow to be wiser and more virtuous than him, expecting nothing less from his grandson. Vowing he won't be scared any longer, he trains relentlessly with his sword to be different from his father and grandfather. Thinking of her words helped him through his royal training. Though they rarely crossed paths, he still held a lingering affection and wanted to tell her something. He wanted her to know she was his first love. At the ducal manor, our girl visits her mother. The Duchess claims it's just a cold from overexerting herself socially, but her energy returns once she hears some good news. The mother says she'll recover quickly if she rests. She's incredibly proud of the business with the prince and wants her daughter to soar in a much bigger world. She promises to keep the business a secret from the rest of the family. The girl thanks her for the support. "I'll do my best." But a knock interrupts them. The younger sister, Lilika, enters the room. She claims she came to visit the moment she heard her mother was feeling unwell. The sister hands over a bouquet and wishes for a recovery, but our girl suddenly notices something about the flowers, recognizing the gift. The daughter stares intensely and asks the younger girl if she even knows what kind of flower this is. She remembers the past timeline where she screamed at her sister for bringing flowers that meant death. Jikison Doran, the brother, walked in just as our girl slapped her. She tried to explain the white Lafia flowers were a threat, but the brother called her mad. He shouted that those flowers don't even grow in their garden. The sister erased the evidence by throwing the bouquet into the fireplace, making the girl's infamy grow. This time, our girl won't fall for that trap. The girl asks if the sister knows what white Lafia means. When she asks if a maid gave them to her, the younger girl flinches. The flustered maids immediately deny it. stammering that the lady brought the flowers herself, while our girl keeps her gaze fixed on her sister. The sister stammers an apology and offers to remove them, but our girl refuses. She says not knowing something so basic reflects poorly on the family name. She suggests they consult the men of the house just as the brother Jikison enters and asks what all the commotion is about, calling the timing perfect. Our girl shoves the white leafia at him. The sister immediately cries, swearing she didn't know the meaning and just thought their mother would like them. The brother comforts the crying girl, insisting she wouldn't do it on purpose. Our girl then suggests they need to hold the tutor accountable instead. She argues it's the tutor's negligence. The brother agrees, telling the protesting younger sister that replacing the teacher is for her own good. Our girl warns her that rumors of this incident could bring up cruel talk about her birth. She smiles coldly, promising to make sure no one finds out. Later, the girl meets the tutor and asks if she really failed to teach the meaning of the flower. Madame Tiller is offended, claiming she'd never skip basic etiquette. The woman mentions the Duke's fury over her replacement, but our girl slides an envelope across the table and asks her to accept it instead. It's a recommendation letter to help her find work. Moved, Madame Tiller wipes her eyes and admits she had wrongly believed the bad rumors about the girl, warning that rumors are terrifying and uncontrollable once they spread. Our girl says goodbye. She wonders how the well-connected woman will spread this new story. She waits with curiosity for her strategic seeds to finally bloom. The sister, who is supposedly as beautiful as spring, grips her hairbrush until her hand trembles. She thinks to herself that she is the treasured Lilika Primrose. She slams the brush down in a rage, unable to forgive her sister. She hates that everything is falling apart because of her these days. In a flashback, she recalls the struggle of being an illegitimate child, while the Duke noted invitations only came for our girl. She's worked too hard to let this crumble. Back then, our girl's talk of legitimacy earned a scolding from the Duke. The sister hid a smirk while their father demanded his eldest daughter comfort her. The sister's perfect plan relied on provocation. She would break things and play the victim, knowing her foolish sister would lash out at the slightest push. The strategy worked perfectly. Noblewomen judging our girl's harsh behavior offered the sister sympathy and tea, finally accepting her into their circle. Guests whisper, "Why is Lady Yuria so cruel to Lady Lilika?" and urge the girl to stay strong. While she wins over the staff and the Duke, the brother calls the protagonist impossible. Madame Tiller, the new tutor, helped spread the word that Lilika is kind and intelligent, even claiming the pitiful girl needs a proper teacher. The sister became the lovable underdog while the protagonist was branded a villain, but that dynamic finally starts to fail. At her 19th birthday banquet, the secret pink dress and toxic lead pot failed. Even the Leffia flower plan flopped despite her sister's temper. Her plans backfired as if her sister saw right through them. Now her father and brother see her as a nuisance, and even Madame Tiller is distancing herself. The girl is furious that her sister was effortlessly summoned to the palace for something she worked for. Wishing the protagonist were gone, she thinks, "I can never forgive her." Composing herself, she anticipates that her sister will undoubtedly try to pull another stunt at today's gathering. Resolved not to let it slide, she surrounds herself with dark floral imagery. She'll just do what she's always done and take everything for herself. "I'll take it all away." The sister thinks at the ball for chapter 19. But her resolve fails as guests whisper. "Did you hear?" Guests mock the sister for buying a lead pot and giving toxic flowers. As the crowd gasps that her tutor is all reputation and no skill, they wonder at her lack of etiquette. "That's a huge insult," the ladies say, wondering how much they paid to learn while the sister blames her tutor. Hearing them insult her illegitimate background, the girl clenches her fist. "No matter what I did," she thinks, before snapping and telling the group to mind their business. Glaring, she commands the shocked ladies to say it to her face. As Lady Drivel stammers, the sister mocks her family debt and tells her to watch her mouth. Then the protagonist arrives saying, "Excuse me, ladies," apologizing with a worried look. The protagonist says the girl is just stressed, leaving the shocked sister to whisper her name. "Refrain from treating my sister so carelessly," she says, as the ladies apologize and bystanders wonder what happened. The sister grits her teeth. Guests whisper about her weird behavior, humiliated. The sister stares at the protagonist and vows not to let this slide. Opinion shifts as the ladies admit they were wrong. Seeing the sister's behavior today, they agree that they shouldn't judge people too quickly as the carriage drives away. As our protagonist leaves, a voice stops her, asking if she is departing already. Marcel Vieira, a man in an ornate vest, says storming out like this isn't like her at all today. She only repeats the words back coolly. Thinking of her father and brother, the protagonist knows it's the sister who changed. She vows never to be manipulated again, now that the girl's true colors are showing. A brown-haired knight in a ceremonial uniform blocks her path, challenging the protagonist to see what she'll do next. The knight coldly orders her to step aside for the carriage. Surprised, our girl just smiles at the sister and tells her to enjoy the banquet. Heading back in a lion-crested carriage, the sister leaves the protagonist, wondering how she still has such loyal allies. The knight's hostility proves the rumors haven't reached the military. Our girl knows that once the sister awakens as a saint, shown praying in her white dress, there's no telling what she might do.